Hello everyone, welcome to History and Culture. When discussing the emotional lives of ancient Chinese emperors, one cannot overlook the imperial harem. Many media outlets often mention that ancient emperors had thousands of beauties in their harem, with countless beautiful concubines whose numbers were beyond count. However, these concubines not only came from noble families but also possessed unique beauty and charm. Therefore, winning the emperor's favor among so many women was no easy task. As a result, in many historical dramas produced by modern film companies, we often see scenes of concubines vying for the emperor's favor, as well as the emperor's tendency to favor the new over the old. In fact, during the Tang Dynasty, the great poet Bai Zhi wrote a widely praised poem, The Song of Everlasting Sorrow. In it, he wrote, "Heavenly beauty, hard to discard, chosen to be by the emperor's side. A glance and a smile. 100 charms arise, the 6 palaces pale in comparison." These lines not only depict the beauty of Yang Guifei but also vividly describe her unique position in Emperor Xuanzong's heart. Through these concise and precise verses, Bai Zhi reveals the true emotional world within the imperial harem, where Yang Guifei, with her beauty and allure, won the emperor's exclusive affection. This tale of love has remained famous and is still celebrated today. From this perspective, not all emperors were cold-hearted and indifferent. Some emperors, like Emperor Xuanzong, were genuinely devoted to one person, as shown by his deep affection for Yang Guifei. Some historians believe that, when it comes to emotions, ancient emperors may have experienced genuine feelings, just like us. They may not have cared about public opinion and were willing to be deeply in love with those they cherished. Although emperors held immense power and controlled the lives and deaths of thousands, they often felt powerless in making significant decisions. Despite being surrounded by numerous officials and concubines in the palace, few people truly treated them with sincerity and honesty. Therefore, the true emotions of emperors were indeed rare and precious. In the history of the Qing dynasty, there was one particular empress who was deeply loved by Emperor Qianlong, Empress Fucha, also known as Empress Dowager Cixi, who was Qianlong's first empress. Let us now take a look at the story of Emperor Qianlong and Empress Fucha. According to historical records, Emperor Qianlong was extremely intelligent from a young age. At the age of 5, he could easily memorize poetry and prose, demonstrating a remarkable memory. Emperor Guangxu, upon meeting his clever and quick-witted grandson at the Yongzheng prince's residence, was both surprised and pleased, immediately bringing him to the palace for personal tutelage. Under Emperor Guangxu's careful guidance, Qianlong's talents flourished, and he gradually revealed his extraordinary abilities. Due to his intelligence and talents, Emperor Yongzheng had decided early on to make Qianlong his successor. In fact, when Qianlong was only 12 years old, Emperor Yongzheng secretly passed on the throne to him, hiding the imperial edict behind the plaque in the Hall of Supreme Harmony, indicating that Qianlong had long been the cherished successor in the minds of both Emperor Guangxu and Emperor Yongzheng. Since he was the designated heir, and greatly favored by his father, Emperor Yongzheng naturally took great care in selecting a wife for him, choosing a suitable woman who would be worthy of such an exceptional son. So, who was this chosen bride? In the 5th year of Emperor Yongzheng's reign, during a palace selection process, the 16-year-old Fucha Empress stood out among many young women and was chosen to marry the then Prince Qianlong. With the blessings of their parents, they held a grand wedding. Although this marriage was not based on their own choices, the two had complementary personalities and respected each other deeply after marriage. They became a loving couple. Young Empress Fucha understood her responsibilities well. She never became arrogant due to her noble birth and Qianlong's deep affection. Instead, she was considerate of her husband, always remaining humble and frugal. Even when Qianlong ascended the throne, she continued to live a simple life. According to the history of the Qing dynasty, Empress Fucha came from the prominent Manchu Xianghuang banner. Her father was Li Rongbao, the governor of Chahar, and her brother, Fucha, was a senior official in the imperial court. Despite her noble status and the honor of being the empress, Fucha lived a very frugal life. She often wore simple grass flower headpieces and rarely adorned herself with expensive jewels. On one occasion, Qianlong casually mentioned how difficult it had been for their ancestors to build their fortune and how they had not used gold thread to sew their clothes in the palace, but rather used deer tail fur to make threads for sewing cuffs. Empress Fucha kept this in mind and personally made a pouch from deer tail fur to gift to Qianlong, hoping that he would carry it with him as a reminder for both of them to maintain their frugality and not forget their ancestors' hard-working values. The history of the Qing dynasty provides a detailed account of this event. Empress Fucha presented a pouch made from fawn skin, a tribute that emulated the traditions of their ancestors in the borderlands, demonstrating her connection to her roots. Emperor Qianlong highly valued this gesture. Not only was Empress Fucha considerate in her personal life, but she also maintained a harmonious relationship with Qianlong's mother. The palace words specifically mention that Empress Fucha was one of the favored consorts of the Empress Dowager, with Qianlong praising her filial piety as a virtue transcending time, which led him to extend his favor to her family, a rare occurrence in ancient imperial courts. Although historical records on Empress Fucha are scarce, these scattered references reveal the deep bond between her and Qianlong. Furthermore, her portrait, depicting her dignified and elegant appearance, bears a striking resemblance to the actress who portrayed her in the modern historical drama story of Yanqi Palace. It's no surprise that Qianlong often described her as graceful and refined, for she was both virtuous and beautiful, a combination that naturally earned the emperor's affection. However, this happy period was short-lived, as fate cruelly played a jest on the loving couple. Shortly after their marriage, Empress Fucha and Emperor Qianlong welcomed their first daughter, but tragically, the child passed away after only 14 months. This was a heavy blow to the couple, and even more tragic, it was not the last of such sorrow. Throughout her life, Empress Fucha bore 4 children for Qianlong. But only their second daughter, Princess Galen and Jing, survived to adulthood. The other 3 children unfortunately passed away in infancy. Losing so many of her own children was an unbearable grief for any mother, and from that point on, her health visibly declined. In particular, after the death of their 7th son, Yongzong, her condition weakened further. At the time, Qianlong was preparing for a grand tour of the East, and in an effort to help Empress Fucha recover from her grief, he insisted on having her accompany him despite the taxing journey. However, one night in Dezhou, her condition worsened suddenly, and she passed away aboard the ship, only 37 years old. Qianlong was clearly unprepared for the loss. Stricken with sorrow, his pain deepened rather than lessened with time, and the anguish of missing her consumed him. According to historical records, Qianlong's mourning for Empress Fucha lasted throughout his life. After her death, he ordered that the palace where she had lived be preserved exactly as it was. And every year on the anniversary of her passing, he would visit to honor her memory. This ritual continued for 40 years. Until Qianlong's abdication. He also expressed his deep sorrow through poetry, leaving many works commemorating Empress Fucha. Moreover, he never again visited Dezhou, the place that reminded him of his heartbreak. The ship she had sailed on was also carefully transported back to the palace. A task so difficult that it required dismantling parts of the city gates. If Qianlong had not loved her so deeply, if their time together had not been so perfect, how could he have been so consumed by her memory? After her death, Qianlong underwent a significant transformation. His profound sorrow stripped him of his previous gentleness, and he became more stern. His political style shifted from one of tolerance and kindness to one of greater rigidity. When making important decisions, Qianlong often retreated to the palace where Empress Fucha had lived. Sitting in the chair where she once sat and speaking his heart to the empty space, as he had done when they were young. Even at the age of 80, he once said to Empress Fucha, "I no longer wish to live to 100, I only want to join you sooner." such longing was truly deep and profound. Some historians have commented that, although Qianlong had many wives and concubines throughout his life, Empress Fucha, his first wife, was irreplaceable in his heart. As his first empress, she shared many unforgettable moments with him, and this relationship left a lasting imprint on his life. While emperors are often thought to be indifferent, in reality, when it comes to genuine love, they are no different from ordinary people, their feelings are just as precious and rare. 10 years of life and death, too vast and boundless, without thought, yet hard to forget. We cannot control life and death. But what we can do is cherish every day and the time we spend with loved ones. In life, love may inevitably face separation, but may all those who are in love be able to unite in the end, with their affections not betrayed. Even though aging, illness, and death are inevitable, the beautiful memories will forever be cherished in the heart, becoming an eternal treasure. This is the History and Culture channel. Liking and subscribing are the greatest help and support to us. Thank you everyone and see you in the next time.